2. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a live edition of the Gridiron Football Player of the Week show. I'm your host, Jace Lejeune, alongside Grant Sashery. Grant has been joining us the last couple of weeks and has been a great addition to the Gridiron football community. So, Grant, always a pleasure, my man.
Yes, sir.
Yep, so we're going to get started. Appreciate everybody that's tuning in live right now. If you're not watching it live, you can always go back and watch this after. And in fact, you in the link in the description, you pretty much already know who the player of the week is. But because we actually released the article too of who the player of the week is. But in case you're just joining in with us, thank you for tuning in, and we appreciate all of y'all because we did something different this week. We've done the player of the week the last two years. And this past week was like, let's try something different because everybody has an opinion on who the player of the week should be. So we got like, oh, he should have been number 1. He should have been number 2, whatever. So guess what? We're not going to be a dictatorship, right? We're a democracy. We're a democracy, right, Grant? So yeah. We have opened up to the people, to the American people, as far as who should be the Gridiron Football Player of the Week. Now, myself and Grant, we narrowed down to really 10 good options, and then we just let y'all vote for the Player of the Week. And Grant, what can I say about the numbers we ended up having? We had 40,000 votes.
Why wasn't it 50,000? What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing?
Yeah, it could have been more. It could have been
higher. Get off your lazy butts and go vote.
That's right. Use your American privilege, right? Go vote. Support America. I love that. So what we're going to do on this show, just in case you're tuning in right now, we're going to rank the top 10 based off not what we think, but based off what y'all think. So off the votes. And we'll go from 10 to 1, 10 with the least amount of votes, 1 obviously with the most. So I know y'all tuning in, wanting to hear what the top 10 is. So we're going to get that underway for y'all. So yeah, at number 10, we're going to start off with a bang. With 113 votes coming in at 10th place is actually an LSU commit. And it's going to be Devon Keys. So Devon Keys from Aledo High School is one of the commits at LSU. I actually got a chance to talk with him when he did commit to LSU. And boy, he had himself another great game. And it's great to see him at number 10. So before you give your thoughts on this pick, Grant, let's go over his stats. Basically playing running back and linebacker for Aledo. He had 13 tackles, 3 TFLs, an interception, a fumble recovery, and he also plays running back. He also had 2 rushing touchdowns in a 25-19 win over Denton Ryan. And when you have a guy that's an LSU commit who's going to be really a stud at the linebacker position moving forward, he just showed a little bit of it. I mean, scoring multiple different ways, 13 double-digit tackles, and interception. It shows he's a playmaking linebacker, and I think it helps when him playing running back really helps him as a linebacker.
Yeah, he did that against Denton Ryan, and I think that's actually one of the better teams in the state of Texas too. So that's very impressive. And he goes to a high school like Aledo. Aledo is a power in the state of Texas. They've won 11 state championships, but 10 of those have come in the last 14 years. So a very successful high school. And by the way, 4 days ago was, I believe it was the 9th or the 10th anniversary of the parent. You remember hearing the story where they beat some team 91-0.
Yeah,
the parents from another team, called in 5 of reports oh, they're bullying us.
Yeah.
No, they're just that good.
You gotta stop it.
Yeah, you gotta stop them. Yeah, I mean, shoot, if you're at 77, you better stop them because they might go to 100.
Yeah, right? Very well could.
Or maybe your team is just not very good, and the coaching may not be very good, but it doesn't matter. But 13 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and interception from recovery, along with 2 rushing touchdowns. That boy had to be tired. I mean, that's very, very impressive.
Yeah, but I think he's pretty well conditioned because he has to do this pretty much every single week. Yeah. So Devon Keys, he was our number 10 spot. So everybody that voted for Aledo High School, 113 votes was the total number for Devon Keys. So he is at number 10. We go into number 9, and it is Cashmir Batiz from Karen Crow High School, running back, and Cashmir. He's been a great part of this Karen Crow offense. Has been scoring a lot of points. Obviously, we talk about their quarterback and how good he's really been, a Chance Babineau. But he's a really good Robin to Batman, and it shows. So Cashmir Batiz, he is actually our number 9 on our list. And just in case you're wondering, Cashmir got 203 votes. So 203 votes from Cashmir Batiz, from you, the people, voted in. And Cashmir, really good numbers. 30 carries, 227 yards, and 5 touchdowns. So over 220 yards rushing. They did on the ground. They played a very good Sam Houston football team, and they needed those 5 rushing touchdowns because it was only a 2-point win, a very high-scoring shootout against Sam Houston. But Cashmir Batiz is your number 9 guy.
Cashmir Batiz, he's also scored the game-winning touchdown in the Southside game, the game we both went to.
Yep.
And so he's always been a very clutch player for Karen Crow, and he's much needed in that offense because, remember, Chance Babineau is in his first year as a starting quarterback. So when you're in the first year and you have a running back like that who can help, elevate the offense and, bring a lot of balance to that offense, especially with a first-year quarterback, it makes your life so much easier. And, Karen Crow is 8-0 right now. They have a big game against Acadiana, of course. Probably the biggest game in southern Louisiana, if not the whole state. Mm-hmm. And they're 8-0. They're the number 1 team in the Division I Select, which I think, everyone knew that Karen Crow was going to be very good and be, they had the potential to make it to state. But nobody really expected them to be the number 1 team. In Division I Select, there's a lot of great teams. A lot of people thought the private schools would be at the top. Well, the public schools are dominating right now. But then again, we're talking about Karen Crow. Karen Crow is a very good team, and I believe they could finish the season 10-0.
Yeah.
Which is, a lot of people, that would shock a lot of people, considering how tough their district is. Sam Houston is, 6-2 right now?
Yeah, 2 losses came against Acadiana and Karen Crow.
And Acadiana, and Southside is also a very good team. And there's a lot of great teams in the district. And the fact that they've been, for the most part, dominating this district so far, just shows how talented this Karen Crow really is. And Cashmir Batiz is one reason why they're 8-0.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be a very fun game we're going to be seeing this week. When we talked about, you should go back and watch. We had our Protect the Boot podcast. We talked about that matchup of Karen Crow and Acadiana. And so we go into number 8, and we'll go a little bit around that area of Louisiana. Mm-hmm. We'll go to Crowley, Louisiana, to Omar Butler, who plays quarterback for Crowley, and really talk about a sleeper. Not a lot of people talk about him because maybe Crowley doesn't have the best in terms of win-loss record, but talk about a player that really puts it all on his shoulders. Mm-hmm. Omar Butler comes in at our number 8 spot. Omar Butler got 229 votes, so shout out to the Gent Nation for voting 229 times to get him at number 8. And his stat line was pretty incredible, Grant. You go back and look at the numbers. 8 for 14, only threw for 200 yards of passing, but on 8 completions, 8 for 14. He threw for 3 touchdowns off those 8 completions. So 8 for 14, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. But the rushing, he had 24 carries, 277 yards, and 2 more touchdowns. So a 5 touchdown performance for the very talented Gent in a 45-28 win over Livonia. But Omar Butler, that's a name that a lot of people need to, if you're around the area and you're seeing the Crowley game, that's a name you have to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, Omar Butler, the thing is, the passing stats, even though they don't look, to pop up to you, because, even though he only threw for 200 yards, but he did throw for 5 touchdowns, which was pretty impressive. But the most impressive thing about his game was, his rushing performance.
Yeah.
Rushing for nearly 300 yards in any game is really hard to do. 277 yards, 2 touchdowns, and, a win over Livonia 45-28. I think that's very impressive. And if Omar Butler was playing for a big, probably if you could put him on, let's just say, Karen Crow or any of these some of those better schools around the area, Notre Dame.
Right.
I think he'll be getting more pub, but unfortunately his team hasn't been that impressive this year. However, they could be even worse, without him. These are one of the reasons why they're 3-5 right now. And even though Carroll Lee should be one of the better powers in southwestern Louisiana, but they kind of fallen off. And
Louis Cook was the head coach over there.
Louis Cook was the head coach, but I think that Omar Butler, he means so much to that team.
He really does.
So much to that team, and it's somebody you should watch out for, especially come down the line, because once you get to December, January, schools, all kinds of schools, D1 schools, D2, D3, they're all going to be hitting up these recruits because recruiting season is never over. And even in April and May, it's never over. So he could very well land somewhere, and I think he will because he's that type of player.
I agree. And a lot of people, coaches have been massing Jay, says he's got to be a guy you'll have to invite for the bowl game. And trust me, there's going to probably be an offer coming pretty soon for
really
Omar.
Soon. Sooner than soon.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. Now, we started off, in the state of Texas, number 10. We started, and then we went to Louisiana for number 9, number 8, and then we go into Texas at number 7. So next up, we have Gail Ooah, who is a quarterback. So we actually get another quarterback from Pebble Hills High School in El Paso, Texas, and we appreciate their school because they pretty much were one of the schools that really heavily promoted, hey, get your vote in there. We retweeted their post as well about getting him involved in the Gridiron Football Player of the Week. And he had himself a very efficient performance. He only had 12 completions in the game, but 5 of them went for touchdowns, almost half. 12. Gail finished 12 for 21, 327 yards. 5 touchdown passes. Also had over 100 yards on the ground. 10 carries for 103 yards and a touchdown run. A 6 touchdown performance and a 56-14 win over El Paso Franklin. So very talented quarterback in Gail Ooah, and very, very impressive performance. That is for sure.
That's a nice throw right there.
Really, really impressive throw. And in case y'all worry about the total numbers for votes, Gail locked in 378 votes to get the number 7 spot.
Right. The state of Texas, as we may well know, may or may not be the best state in terms of football. I mean, if you ask them, they're going to say they're the best. If you ask anybody outside of Texas, they're probably not going to agree with that statement. However, he's from watching his highlights, watching some of his highlights earlier, we were coming up doing publishing the article and stuff like that. He kind of stood out, and that guy could be a sleeper in the state of Texas. And El Paso's a pretty big city, so he's not in some small town in Texas.
No, he's not.
Like you see in the show Friday Night Lights. He's in a pretty relatively big city. El Paso's I think over 500,000 people in that city. But he looks like a very impressive quarterback, and 327 yards and over 327 yards and over 100 yards rushing.
He's got some wiggle into him too as a runner.
I mean, 10 average 10 yards a carry.
Yeah, just showing that last highlight.
Yeah, so he's a very impressive quarterback. And if you're in the state of Texas, he could be somebody to watch out for because look at that. I mean, Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football. Look at him.
Pointing for his blocker.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go.
That's a late hit.
A little bit of an acting job.
Throw the flag. God damn. But some very impressive highlights we're watching here. Me and Jason are pretty entertained right now.
Oh yeah,
really
I'd rather
entertained.
get popcorn and just sit down and watch that. That's very impressive.
I want to drive to El Paso myself. Actually, I'm too lazy. That's a long drive. Yeah, but very impressive.
Yeah, absolutely.
We ran out of words to say because we said a lot.
Yeah, we got a lot of adjectives to describe for that.
He ain't the last person from Texas. I'll just say that right now. Spoilers. I'm not gonna say anymore. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, we're gonna have some more Texas guys in here. That's for sure. That's just a little bit of an appetizer for what we got to come.
Well, maybe not a lot. Maybe one more, but that's the last thing we're gonna give you.
Well, we're going to go to actually Alabama. So Alabama.
Sweet home Alabama.
Dun, 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 dun. All right, so we go into so number 6 is up next, and we have another quarterback from the state of Alabama, and that is Brock Bradley, who takes our number 6 spot. Brock had a total of happened to me before. And it was like we're back up. So, sorry about the delay, folks. Sometimes we can we can have stuff like this happen every now and then.
I'm sorry, guys. If you guys may not, if you guys aren't familiar with us, we are based out of the state of Louisiana. We are currently, I believe, 50th in infrastructure. So if the Wi-Fi goes down again, blame the state government. I mean, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, so we're back on, so I appreciate it. Thanks for still tuning in with us. And sometimes stuff like this happens, but looks like we're back on. So now we can talk about what we were talking about earlier, and that was Brock Bradley, right? 411 yards, 4 touchdowns, a rushing touchdown, did against a really good football team in Hewitt-Trussville. So talk about that performance. I thought he would have been higher on this list.
Over 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, and he also had a rushing touchdown as well. And Hewitt-Trussville, like Jay said, is no slouch. I mean, they were the number 5 team in the state of Alabama, and not only that, Spain Park is a pretty good program themselves. They're kind of more of the upstarts in the state of Alabama, because I think their school is a little bit newer, if I'm correct. If I may be wrong, but I think they're a little bit newer. And they also play in a really tough district. Not only do they have Hewitt-Trussville, but they have Thompson High School, which is a state power, Hoover, which I think everyone knows very well, 2-a-days. I think they've won the most state championships in the state of Alabama too. I could be wrong, but
Rush Probes.
I don't think we should mention that.
Yeah, maybe not. maybe not.
But very impressive performance by Brock Bradley from Spain Park out of Alabama, right outside Birmingham.
Yeah. And then, there's going to be a big game coming up in the state of Alabama we're going to be talking about next week.
And then also, I just want to mention this. Birmingham's not boring anymore, guys, okay? They built a Topgolf right next to the Birmingham
How about
Bowl.
that?
The Birmingham Bowl is back, baby.
Andy said Alabama broke the internet. So, I mean, if anything you have to blame, I mean, we're going good until we hit Alabama. So, we just have to blame it on Alabama, right?
Brian Kelly and Jane Danzer can take their anger out.
There we go. We'll see about that. That is for sure next week. We'll go into our number 5 spot and back into where we're actually based out of, and that is Louisiana with our number 5 pick, and that is John Martinez. And you see a graphic right there that St. Michael put up. Actually a school record of 257 yards rushing against Terra. John Martinez, we've seen him a couple of times this year. You can tell he's really the bell cow, really the engine for this offense. He had 257 yards rushing, broke a school record, 26 carries, and then he had 5 touchdown runs in the win against Terra. He's just physical downhill. There's nothing really flashy when you see John Martinez run, but I tell you, it's workmanlike, and he's going to go north-south. You know that for a fact.
Yeah, very gritty running back of St. Michael, the Archangel High School in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I saw him against Plaquemine when they played against Plaquemine, and that was I think that was only their second win in 19 meetings against Plaquemine. Plaquemine's a pretty good program themselves, and St. Michael's actually been one of the better stores in Baton Rouge. Usually they've been kind of average, but they about St. Michael's, they've always been known as a team where they're going to beat somebody that they're not supposed to be, and they're going to lose against somebody that they're not supposed to lose to. It's been the exact opposite this year. They've been one of the better stories. They're 6-2 right now, and I think they'll finish the season 8-2, which I think it may be their best season in who knows how long. I think 2013, 2014
right.
It was. But he's a bell cow. He's only I think he's 5'7", 180 pounds. So he's not that big of a guy.
He's not like 240 pounds. Not Derrick Henry.
Right, but he runs like he's 6'1" and 215. Like he's a very physical runner. He is the engine that keeps the car running, and he's a very good back. I think he's one of the more underrated backs in the Baton Rouge area. But then also, fun fact, he rushed for 257 yards, which is obviously the new record, as we just mentioned.
Yeah.
The old record was 241 yards.
And you told me this.
Yep. The old record was held by current Sam Houston head coach with the high school we just mentioned a little earlier in the show, Chad Davis. He actually had the record for 241 yards.
He did.
Until John Martinez broke it. And I think it's about a 20-year record, too.
Yeah.
It's not like it was broken recently. That's a 20-year record we're talking about.
Yeah, well, Coach Davis, good run. Had yourself a good run. I gotta say, round of applause.
Yep.
But hey, records are meant to be broken. At the end of the day, that's just what the old saying goes. And just in case you're wondering, I know Coach Leger of the St. Michael community, they're wondering how many votes they actually gotten because I know they were pretty heavy in trying to promote it. So 842 votes for John Martinez. So I got to number 5.
He had a strong finish there. I remember he was like last. Like I gave him 2 votes. He had 4. Yeah, because I want to get it higher because that's pretty. He had a pretty impressive performance. Well, the St. Michael's community definitely stepped up there. Shout out to Coach Leger, awesome guy.
Yeah,
he's done a great job with our program. He's done a great job getting that community to support their team. And I think St. Michael's got a really good head coach in their hands.
Absolutely. They've been definitely rolling. So we're going to go into number 4, and that is we're going to go up to North Louisiana. Give a shout-out to Coach Terrence Blankenship and Jonesboro Hodge Tigers. We actually went to our camp. Actually, this photo was taken at our camp. He was actually one of our campers. Landon Boston. Talk about the Jonesboro community at number 4 with 1,734 votes. So this is the first one that cracked over 1,000 votes, and it's Landon Boston. And Landon was pretty much all over the field when we talk about the last game. 14 tackles, 2 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles, and he did it against a really good football team. We talk about the Manny Tigers, a team has been really a powerhouse at the 2A level, has won a couple of state championships. Landon Boston was actually one of her was a top performer for us at our Gridiron football camp up in Jonesboro Hodge. So Landon Boston is great that that action in the camp earlier in the spring, that hard work put in the camp has really shown itself in the regular season. It's a good program like Manny.
Even though his team lost, I mean, at the hindsight, I think he and his team want to win that game, but he had a dominant performance. 14 tackles isn't easy, but especially when you get two sacks and 2 forced fumbles. I mean, that's a pretty impressive performance by this young man. He's only a sophomore, so he has time to grow, get bigger and stuff like that. And I think he'll be one of the more underrated linebackers in the state. And he also played, in his area, that's a pretty good area for football. So I think he has time to develop and grow, and the more he keeps coming to our camps, and Andy keeps giving him that good food and whatever whatever it is, I think he's going to really develop and become one of the more underrated linebackers in the state.
Yeah, it's good to see that hard work pay off. And another shout-out, Coach Blankenship up in Jonesboro.
Also, I want to mention this. He also did hit me up last week. I actually didn't see it until this week for 12 tackles.
Yeah.
But then, this week, I'm gonna up my performance. 2 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. And shout out Landon, man. That's
hard to do. I mean, that's hard to do coming from the linebacker position.
Yeah, if anybody has a really strong performance, don't be afraid to hit me up in the DMs. I'll definitely see it. And then
hit me or Grant up. I mean, we'll both see it.
Hit up Andy too.
Andy too.
If you have Andy's contact information, whether it's his phone number, and if you follow him on Twitter, don't be afraid to hit him up either. We're gonna nominate you.
Yeah,
we want as many nominations as possible.
Absolutely, and we had a lot of great candidates that were just outside our top 10. That we're going to talk about, and actually that's going to be in the article we'll promote at the very end of it. So now we actually go. We're going to talk about a lot of votes coming up when we talk about the top 3. And at number 3, we have from Louisiana as well. We'll talk about the East Iberville Tigers. Actually, this was a team a little close to heart here. My dad was the head coach for a couple years over at East Iberville, and they've had really their greatest success over there when he was the head coach. And Coach Joe's is doing a really good job of carrying that. Started off with my dad when they went to the quarterfinals, and they went to the semifinals the year after that. But Theo Dunn, talk about the performance he had. I mean, he just went off. We'll go over the numbers. First of all, as far as Theo's numbers go, talk about really the St. Gabriel community showing up right here. And they're going up against maybe some bigger communities that have more people, but really the East Iberville community was all in and trying to get as much votes for Theo Dunn as possible. So 4,932 votes. Shout out the St. Gabriel community there. Close to 5,000 votes. Puts Theo Dunn at our number 3 spot. So Theo's numbers, and you can make an argument that Theo could be number 1. 249 receiving yards, 149 rushing yards, 40 yards passing, 40 yards on returns, had 5 overall touchdowns in a 49-29 win over Ascension Christian. And Ascension Christian, just in case y'all didn't know, their head coach was a pretty good quarterback back in the day for LSU, Rohan Davies. So, Rohan, unfortunately, Coach, you saw a lot of Theo Dunn that night. 400 yards of all-purpose yards?
Turning on them Jets right there.
Yeah, right. 400 all-purpose yards, 5 touchdowns. Take a bow, young man. Theo Dunn, top 3 performer this week.
Right, Theo Dunn. The thing is, he's a running back now.
Yeah.
The crazy thing about this whole thing is that he had 249 receiving yards. That's 100 more yards than he had rushing. That's insane. This man might be Brian Westbrook. And for anybody who may not know who Brian Westbrook is, he was a great running back for the Eagles in the early 2000s. And I think he had multiple seasons. We had 1,000 yards rushing, 1,000 yards receiving. And you can even make a case that he was Marshall Faulk. Marshall Faulk also had those type of stats as well. So
they changed the game as far as.
Oh yeah. In terms of the pass catching running back, you see a lot of pass catching running backs now. Back then, there were very few, and two of them were Marshall Faulk and Brian Westbrook.
Yep.
So when you have a pass-catching running back like that out of the backfield, that could completely elevate your whole offense, and it means a lot. Especially when the receivers may not be open, you have a guy out of the backfield who maybe, even though he might get a few yards, it's still yards. Right? You know? So.
Absolutely. Congratulations, Theo, on the great performance. We go to our top 2, and really we were eyeing these 2 the entire time because it was really the biggest competition was between these 2. We're going to go into our number 2 spot. I know Annie's going to like this one because that's close to home, too, in the Slidell area, and that is Salmon High School. We're going to have Jacoby Jefferson as our number 2 performer. Jacoby Jefferson. Talk about round of applause, Slidell community. Round of applause. 13,345 votes. It was a heck of an effort to try to get close to number 1, but Jacoby Jefferson is our number 2 spot, and we'll go over the numbers, and he definitely deserved to be in the running for a potential number 1 spot with what he was able to do. 29 carries, all right, so he has been he's been a huge ball carrier for the Salmon Spartans. 29 carries, 306 yards rushing, and 4 touchdowns on the ground. Did it against Franklinton, led by Coach Salter from Maggio. Got some talent over there in the Demons, and big win. And it was pretty much led, not on the shoulders, but pretty much on the feet of Jacoby Jefferson. 300 yards rushing. Talk about another guy that's really had a great season. You saw that graphic a little bit before. He just hit over 1,000 yards rushing this season. But he's a guy that, like you said, all-purpose backs, Brian Westbrook and Marshall Faulk. He's a guy that can beat you up the middle on the outside as a receiver. He can do a little bit of everything. Jacoby Jefferson, he was very impressive.
Yep. Salmon High School, they're coached by Eric Tudor, who's done a fantastic job over there. They have a pretty big game against Pearl River this weekend. So, if they win that game, it basically gives them a share of the district title. But, if they win both games, they win they win outright. So, it's a fantastic job by Eric Tudor. But let's talk about Jacoby Jefferson. 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, even if we voted, he would probably be a top 3 vote, in my opinion. Yeah. He might be for year 2, but we may disagree on that. Yeah. But it's very clear that he should be no less than number 4. Yeah. That's an incredible performance by him, especially against a friendly team that has some talent over there and is also coached by Coach Salt, who's, by the way, led East Jeff to a state championship.
Yeah, I know. Now
that's no easy feat.
And they be in the car. Too, I believe.
And the car. And when they're starting to get ready to start their prime.
Right.
Just right before then. But then he also led Humboldt to a state championship as well. With Puka Williams.
The moves. He showed some moves here.
But yeah.
Shaking bait.
So that's not a slouch of a team. So shout out to Jacoby Jefferson, and he may be seeing a bowl invite pretty soon.
He's going to get a bowl invite after seeing this. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
So Jacoby Jefferson, he's another guy that's going to be getting a bowl game. Like more of a, he's kind of got some Barry Sanders to him a little bit.
Ooh.
Oh man.
Ooh.
I mean, guys, I might just sit down and just watch Jacoby Jefferson highlights the rest of the show because this is impressive. Yeah. I mean, if you're Coach Eric Shooter, I mean, you're grabbing yourself some popcorn.
I'm about to say, was he really about to break all those stats? I was like,
Grant was going to get like really serious about it.
Oh yeah, by the way, that's a really nice stadium they got over there. Really nice stadium, really nice field. I mean, that's a really nice stadium.
Yeah, it really is. And we're going to go before we go to number one. Just once again, a round of applause for pretty much everybody that voted in. 40,000 votes. Unbelievable.
Drum roll, please.
And we're going to go into number one. And number one pretty much set the tone from the start to the very finish. Your number one Gridiron Football Player of the Week. And keep in mind, this is actually the first time.
Hurry up, Chase.
I'm buying some time so I can pull it up, right? You got to build a suspension.
Announce his name. His parents are wanting to hear his name.
Number one. It is Cade Bryant from Westwood High School. Coach Bishop reached out to me and said, "Hey, Chase, is Cade number one? Did he win? It's like, I don't know, Coach. You're going to have to tune in to find out. And I just want to say, yep, no suspense here. He was your number one player by a long shot. So, like I said, we had 40,077 votes overall. 44% of the vote went to Cade Bryant. 17,746 votes. Everything's bigger than Texas. They backed it up. Round of applause, Westwood.
Dun, 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 dun.
Deep in the heart of Texas. Hey. Yeah, congratulations. And we're going to go over the numbers too. There's no reason why he just had 17,000 votes, right? Is more to that. And really, I probably could have voted for him after the stat line he had as well. He only did this, and keep in mind, he only had 32 total offensive snaps. He completed 20 of 25 passes, 290 yards, 5 touchdowns, also had 2 more rushing touchdowns, and then did so while breaking the school record, and then also timed for the best start in school history. I think he had the most single yards in the season for Westwood, and also first time too, Grant. We've had, I believe there's a third player from the state of Texas that's been a Gridiron Football Top Player of the Week. 2 of them have been from Westwood. Case and Dial also was a receiver, a young receiver for him. He was a Gridiron Football Player of the Week too 1 week, and he was a young player. This quarterback is only a class of 2027.
Jace, nobody wants to hear the numbers. What is he actually?
So, class of 2027, I'm not a math major, but if I had to say that, he is a freshman.
Yep. That's all we wanted to hear. Nobody cares about the class of 2027. He's a Dane freshman.
Maybe some people do.
Well, he's a Dane freshman. It hits him right. It gets right in the head. Oh man, this kid's only 14.
Yeah.
He may be 50 now, but when people think of freshman, he's 14.
Amazing.
But yeah, 290 yards, 5 touchdowns. 4 carries, 50 yards, and 2 more touchdowns. So he had 7 total touchdowns and over 3. I think he had close to 350 yards of total offense. He broke the school record for passing touchdowns and also completions in the single season. He tied the single game record for touchdowns with 5 for passing touchdowns. And the school has its best start in school history, 7-1 start to the season.
And they pitched a shutout too, icing on the cake.
Right, and a few years ago they weren't. If you look at their all-time history, they weren't really the best of programs. But they seem to be.
They're going to be now.
I don't know anything about the Westwood. I do know it's in Palestine, Texas, which is the hometown of one of the greatest running backs of all time, Adrian Peterson. And you can make a case he's probably one of the greatest high school prospects of all time.
Definitely.
And man, I need some water, but. You guys are getting me hyped up, but they had a 55-0 win over Huntington High School.
All right, Grant, come on.
I need some water. I'm sorry, hey, chill out. But I think the school has done a fantastic job building up the program. Community is really supporting them, and I think they're going to make a push I don't know much about this state of Texas in terms of where the teams stand right now, but I do know they're probably going to go pretty far in the playoffs, and this kid might be one of the top prospects in the country. Especially when he's in the state of Texas. He's already a pretty good-sized kid as a freshman.
Yeah.
And then
he's only going to get better.
Oh yeah, and you're only going to get better. And then also when you're in the state of Texas, all eyes are going to be on you because you're in the state of Texas. So I think the more this program keeps continuing to build and show itself, hey, we're one of the best teams in the state of Texas, and you're from Palestine, Texas, which is the hometown of Adrian Peterson. He's going to get a lot of eyeballs on him. And, great player. He also was the number 3 player, or player of the week a few weeks ago when we did the human trophy. When we decided to do it. Actually, I wasn't even a part of it because if I was a part of it, I would have said he's number 1 because I thought he should have won it 2 weeks ago.
Well, he just wins it. He wins it in front of 40. Hey, we got to set the voting up, right? Everything worked out.
Yeah, it worked out. But
worked out.
But guess what? If we had this system set 2 weeks ago, he probably would have won.
Well, he would have won it regardless. I mean, if he won 3 weeks ago, he would have won it today.
This is why I was going to let Jason and his roommates pick the winner 2 weeks ago, calling him out.
Oh, okay, Grant. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed Grant Sashery for his last show on Gridiron Football. So,
I'm better shut up the phone right now. I resign.
There you go. But all jokes aside, I know we kid each other a whole lot.
Yeah.
Really appreciate Grant. Puts a lot of hard work into it. And really appreciate all of y'all. I mean, once again, this was really fun doing this, and I know I talked to Andy a lot, and I'm like, Chase, have you been seeing the votes we've been getting? Like, yes,
like
you call me every 5 minutes, and I think I've seen the votes. They're pretty good. But anyway, just really. We can't do this. We can't have this type of show without you, the fans. Over 40,000. I know we've had 52 views on the show live, so that's pretty impressive too. So appreciate everybody that's tuning in, and you can go back and watch the show when it's all said and done. But we got our top 10 list, and just a recap, we can go over it really quickly. Just number 10, you have Devon Keys from Aledo. Number 9, Cashmir Batiz from Karen Crow. Number 8, Omar Butler from Crowley. 7, Gail Ooah from Pebble Hills High School. Number 6, Brock Bradley from Spain Park. Number 5, John Martinez from St. Michael. Number 4, we have Jonesboro High's running back and linebacker Landon Boston. Theo Dunn from East Silverville. Jacoby Jefferson, number 2, and of course Cade Bryant, number 1. So now I just mentioned the top 10, Grant. Now this was the people's top 10, but we also want our vote. If it was the old system, right? If we went back to the old system, it was me, you deciding who was the Gridiron Football top player of the week. What do you think about this list? Do you think the people got it right?
I think they got a good bit of it right. However, I think Brock Bradley probably should be high. I think he probably should have been number 1. I'll probably have Cade Bryant just maybe right outside the top 5, because he's had stronger performances than this. I think like I said 2 weeks ago, I thought he should have won it if I was part of the voting system. But I just not
too little, too late.
That's nothing. I'm not being disrespectful to Cade Bryant. He's got even better performances this year.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of the best. He's going to be one of the top prospects.
You just saw the records he broke in the season.
He's already a pretty good sized kid in the state of Texas, and also he's from the. I mean, it may not matter much, but in people's eyes, he's from Palestine, Texas. That's where Adrian Peterson is from.
Yep.
So like
it's
all those Texas publications could be saying he could be the next big prospect out of Palestine, Texas. So that's no disrespect, but I think Brock Bradley should be a little higher. I think he should be number 1.
I agree.
I probably would have kept Jacoby Jefferson number 2. I think I would have kept Theo Dunn at number 3 too. I think I would have moved up Gail Ooah to number 5. I probably would have had Landon Boston probably at 6.
Omar Butler, I feel like should have been higher on this list. Maybe 6 or 7.
Maybe a little higher than that. Like maybe right outside the top 5. And, Cashmir Batiz, I think
he's good right
I think the last 2 were right. I probably had something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised Devon Keys, the people, in terms of the people,
especially all the LSU fans.
Well, it's not even that. He's from Aledo, Texas. That's a
right.
I mean, that's a crazy football town too. So I was really surprised that they were pretty low. And I think Devon Keys should get out and just ride around Aledo. It's like, hey, why didn't you guys vote for me? You know, it was a very
well. I think when they were when Devon, I saw Devon retweet it and post it, and I think recruiter Alito retweeted it. But I think by that time it was a little too late.
So if he has another dominant performance like that, send it to us again. Well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be running.
Yeah, we'll know who to promote it to this time. So.
Yeah, but congratulations, and we'll try to set up an interview with Coach Richard Bishop and KVM Bryant and talk about not only the game he had, but the season he had as well. Because really, what you get if you win the Gridiron Football Player of the Week is you're automatically in the running for Gridiron Football Player of the Year. You either have to been Player of the Week, or you have had at least consistently been in the running for the whole year. So, and I tell you, Caven's definitely going to be in the running for it. How about that, Grant? Back-to-back weeks, State of Texas, or number one spot. So this year it's been kind of back and forth between the neighboring states in Louisiana and Texas.
Yeah, and hopefully it's not Alabama because they might break the internet.
again. When we're going. The live stream was going great, guys. And then, when we went to Alabama, for whatever reason, we talked about the only player on the list from outside Louisiana or Texas, the stream just crashes. But I appreciate everybody that actually tuned in. If we said some expletives or anything when we got back on live, it was just frustration probably that caught up on.
I may have said sugar, honey, but then also I want to say this too because I think we forgot to mention this earlier. All the nominees that didn't get put in the top 10 list, they're going to be on the article, so they're going to be under honorable mentions on the article. And
it's actually in the link.
It's in the link. It's in the link below. Yes, it's in the link below, and you'll see your name, your kid's name, or your player's name under there because we don't want to leave out anybody that sent us those names in because these coaches work day in and day out to develop their players, and then if they feel like they had a really good performance. And they kind of want to post a little bit, they'll send it to us. But we always make sure they're under the honorable mention list.
Oh yeah,
because some of those kids actually were considered as well. So.
Yeah. So for everybody that was nominated or considered, make sure to go to our website. It's right behind us. You can find it gridironfootballusa.com. If you voted, you pretty much found our website, so you know where it's at. GridironFootballUSA.com. The article is up. You can actually, Grant wrote it. Does a good job of taking the load off of me and doing it from the past. But you actually go back and read it. Check out all the bios about all the top 10 players, and then check out all the stats from the honorable mentions. There's a lot of really good stuff.
Also, we should mention about, if you're looking to sponsor the show.
Yes.
We've been getting a lot of views. We got a lot of views on this article, and we got a good bit of views on this live show. So if you're looking
56.
to sponsor the show, sponsor Gridiron Football, even sponsor the Gridiron All-America game, let Jace or Andy know. We would love to promote your business and also to promote our business. It's a win-win for both parties.
Yes.
And I think we're building something really special here at Gridiron Football.
Yeah, and good point there, Grant. And actually, you can go back. We're starting to post a lot of Gridiron Football bowl game commitments. So we've got a couple of them already up there. We actually got a lot more commitments that we got put up, so I got to get caught up with that. But go to our website, gridironfootballusa.com. You also can follow us on Facebook, Gridiron Football. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and then obviously subscribe to our YouTube channel and make sure to give us a like. Any final thoughts, Grant? Thought it was a great show.